Mal out here talking about Family Matters is better than Meet the Grams. The stupid makes my head hurt.
I think
Situation.
Family Matters and Heart Part 6, Drake is rapping better than anything Kendrick put out during that moment.
Head?
Just rapping. Absolutely.
I aspire to have this level of
He's still on impact of a song. He's talking about a song. I'm talking about bars.
no.
I'm talking about lyrics.
So we're going to actually go through what's happening in the writing. So here's how I want to define what's better. I want to say that a battle is about angle. I'm setting the rules here. Lyrics and impact. So angle is how and what position you're taking in the debate against your opponent, right? Lyrics is everything. Whatever you think makes a bar, the punchline, the simile, the metaphor, the words that you use, the vocabulary, all that, lyrics. Let's make it that all encompassing. And then impact. The impact is how the audience took in the lyrics as well as that angle.
The last two are pretty easy for everybody to understand. The angle is separate from lyrics because the angle is the strategy that I take in the battle. And I understand Kendrick took the strategy of saying, I'm hip hop, I'm American, I'm truly black. You are none of those things, and you're a horrible person. You're a bad father, you're a gambler, you're immoral. So you're a terrible person, and nobody should like you because you're a terrible person. Not because you're a bad rapper. You're also a bad rapper, but even worse than that, you're a terrible person. That's Kendrick's general thesis. That's his angle.
Yeah.
Right. So then. And you see the way the angle works in that he says something like, we don't want to hear you say the N-word. So then he's pushing Drake to say the N-word because Drake can't let it seem like Kendrick tells him what to do. But then he says it, it doesn't sound right. And Kendrick has pushed him into a certain. What is Drake's angle in this?
Drake's angle, just like is TMZ rap. It's defamation, is trying to make you corny because I have the cultural currency. You're whack because you're whack. You're whack because you're short. You're whack because you said that I'm not black.
But even Drake's angle is not as complex or as intelligent as Kendrick's.
Exactly.
And Kendrick started he said, what do I want to say about you? And then he started saying it. And Drake seems to be merely just responding to what Kendrick has said. You said it, so I'll say it back to you. But he doesn't seem to have his own point of view here.
Yeah, it's Drake's verse sounds like a reality show confessional.
All right. Holy shit. Okay, wait. Let's do the first verse of Drake, Family Matters first, because Family Matters came out first, and then Meet the Grams later that day, to Drake's horror.
So I'm gonna use the drop chorus. Obviously, drop was him saying drop your damn reply, and also referencing push-ups and saying that you got to give money to Top every single time you drop. So he's referencing all those things with that chorus. And the end of that semi-chorus that goes into the verse is the first line was, if you had a set, they'd give your ass a DP, but you civilian gang, in real life, you PC. DP is disciplinary punishment. DP is something that happens when you go outside of the program, and when you actually a part of a gang, you get a DP. It's disciplinary action, right? From your authority in the gang, right? But he's saying that you are not that. You didn't get no disciplinary action because you actually a civilian. You're not gang, even though he references him as gang as a term that even just means like friend, twin, all that. And then in real life, you PC. So him saying that you're like, PC is like a protective custody. It's like someone that is usually a snitch, like when you PC. That's who you are in real life, which you can say is even a double entendre for someone saying that their PC is like you're politically correct. You're not real with yourself. You're actually a political.
I guess it could be a double entendre.
Give him the double. It could be.
Well, but it doesn't. It could be from Drake's perspective, but you can't say that Kendrick Lamar is politically correct. He's clearly politically revolutionary. So there's not a. But I mean, maybe Drake thought that. I don't know. This entire beginning, because we're going to go into
And
You know who?
civilian gang is an oxymoron. And he's
Right,
basically
right.
saying that Kendrick is an oxymoron. So like you're saying, his viewpoint, it's
I
there.
don't.
It's
I
there.
don't.
His viewpoint,
Yes. Is he really aware that there's not a civilian gang? I don't think he really understands that that does not exist. That's not a thing. Like I don't even know if
this
he
is like
really.
this is all there is in here. If we can't give him this, he ain't gonna have much going
But
further.
what he does at the beginning of the verse is try to establish how tough he is, right? And he's naming people who really bang a set. I'm not sure how this is supposed to establish Drake's toughness, but he seems to know a lot about his friends and what they're really doing.
Yeah. Well, so here in literary terms, he's using two ways of saying it: anaphora, anaphora, because heard it 3 times, and the British say it a certain way, where you're repeating something for emphasis. Right here, you know who really bang a set. You know who really bang a set, and that's like you said, that is implying the establishment of his authority in this concept, right? That you know who really bang a set, my nigga YG. You know who really bang a set, my nigga Chuck D, my nigga CB. We know Chris Brown, we know YG, and that would establish authority. But that's the angle he's taking. The lyrics say that he's using anaphora and establishing authority, but now let's go to impact. The impact shows that YG was at the pop out. CB ain't your boy. So your whole statement is not even valid.
And we
because
know
your authority is gone. And we know that you're not this.
We know Drake never really been in the street. We know Kendrick really been part of that life. So I don't know what Drake is attempting to do here, but this sort of takes me back to like, you know, I like you with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he acts tough. So maybe he's trying to, I don't know.
Well, let's keep it to the writing too. When you say we know that Drake hasn't come from this life, let's not even talk about his real life from a biographical standpoint, because we could say that me and you both don't know Drake, right? And that doesn't matter. But we do know his work, and we know Kendrick's work. In Kendrick's work, he has validation and authority proven to come from this perspective as a young man coming from Compton. That's in his work.
Yeah.
In Drake's work, you have none of that. You have none of this. So this seems out of nowhere. You're saying that you know this person and you know their set, but where is this in So Far Gone? I don't know where this, in your work, if we just take your work for a work, it doesn't validate these lines. Your work is not validated.
And then he's trying to, in the next bit, he's trying to invalidate Kendrick. Nigga, Cole losing sleep on this, it ain't me. He's upset. I guess Drake is saying he's upset he ain't in on this beatdown. I'm not bothered by this. Right? I'm chilling. You better have receipts or you're just gossiping. Okay. Like, I mean, it's true what niggas slime me for my AP. So yes, I got robbed. But what are we talking about? What are you doing? Just like how Metro niggas slimed him for his main squeeze. What are we doing right now?
Yeah, I mean, fake T is just falls short as a rhyme anyways. Let's just say that. Fake T, those one syllable words to go with ain't me and fake T just as rhyming, that is just not, I see what you're trying to do to you better have some paperwork or that shit fake T. We understand the point of that line, but that line objectively, the rhyme isn't very complex. And it falls flat.
What do we do? I'm trying to count. This is about 16 E's here. Maybe 24 E. An MC should change the sound that you're rhyming against every so often, not just
you can keep the sound. Hold on, let me combat that idea that you could keep the sound, but when it's trivial, and the rhyme scheme sounds like a 6th grader could do it, it falls flat. This is not very complex. Is it bouncy? Is it easy to get so people who have lower level of comprehension can get it? I agree that people with lower level comprehensions can receive
But
this.
this is one of the things that I notice about MCs who I respect, who I think are among the greatest, who are pushing me to a greater understanding of what hip hop could be versus people who are more complacent, people who are not pushing me. Do you make words rhyme that I would never think to put together? That I
Oh yeah,
know
that's
you're never going to find in the rhyming dictionary that and that. And when MCs do that, that blows my mind based on the way they say it, or they cut the word up, or they add another word to it. And I'm like, that's when you're killing the game. When you're doing rhymes that I'm like, that's in the rhyming dictionary. I'm sure if you look up squeeze, the words that it rhymes with include please and freeze and believe and trees and mean and between. What the fuck are you doing? You're like, you have multiple rhymes in a row that would be in the rhyming dictionary that any chat GPT would be like, so you know what would rhyme with make believe? Like, what are we doing right now?
Yes, but let's talk about its completely. MC's whole goal is to have a larger form of diction and vocabulary so they could rhyme new words and new phrases together and bring out new ideas. That's what we notice as MCs. It's like, how he did that couplet and put this word. So diction matters, right? Vocabulary and diction matters. If you don't know what diction is, don't talk to me. Now, now angle-wise, let's talk about angle, right? Because we said angle, lyrics, and impact. Angle-wise, and Cole's losing sleep. It ain't me. You better have some paper or fake tea. Can't be rapping about no ratting that we can't read. There's an internal rhyme there, though. Can't be rapping about no ratting we can't read. So rapping and ratting's internal rhyme. But
what's he saying?
Angle,
you don't have
the angle is that
you can't prove the shit you said.
You don't have receipts. You can't prove it. It's like that.
Shit. The song just started and you're complaining about you don't have receipts. Like, what?
That's a very weird, in any debate, it's very weird to accept somebody's angle on you and your rebuttal being, you can't prove it though. That's not, you can't prove it though. Oh, hey, you hate women, you beat women, you mess with little girls, you don't take care of your kid. You can't prove it though. That's literally what we got as an angle.
Pictures don't never happen. Like, what are you doing?
Pictures don't never happen. Horrible angle.
The first.
That's a horrible
verse.
angle.
The first verse, and we're dancing toward it. But this is one of the key lines in the whole battle. Always rapping like you about to get the slaves freed. I don't know why Drake wrote that and thought it was hot. I don't know who, if you showed it to somebody and they said that was hot, you can never trust their judgment again. Like, what are you fucking doing? Like, but this is where Kendrick's point about you're a foreign exchange student. You don't really understand. You understood the words. You understood that we were enslaved, but you don't understand what a self-own it is to say you're always rapping like you about to get the slaves freed. And you could have said, you're a hotep, you're a fake activist, you're a revolutionary without a you could have made that point.
That could have been the angle.
That could have been a great angle. Oh my God, you're not the activist you claim to be. That could be a great angle.
And it's easy to have bars about that. Like, if you wanted to go at Kendrick.
This is what we talked about. He doesn't know what a hotep is. He's not that deep in African-American culture to know what a hotep is. So, of course, he could not call him a hotep.
But you know what he aligns himself with? This angle. Because this is something that you could find on a tweet, right? Rapper, like someone saying Doechii makes Harriet Tubman music. That was a black woman that said that, right? And that comes from your own internalized hatred and anti-blackness that you don't even understand, because you don't have the wherewithal, you don't have the understanding of what you're saying. So you say that's Harriet Tubman music because you learned that Harriet Tubman was this great figure from the past. Oh my God, she must have done something great, but we don't care about that now. So she makes Harriet Tubman music because it's supposed to have a point, but nobody cares about it. That's the aspect. So what I'm trying to say by this is that he's taking an anti-black perspective coming from probably the self-hatred, from a space of self-hatred, and then trying to turn it on Kendrick. So the angle is flawed from its inception. Because, like you said, it should be moving forward that. Now, let's go to a line where he says, don't even go back to your hood and plant no money trees. I think this is a solid line and probably the most solid line in here.
Why do you think that's a good line?
Don't even, I just love that no line can be good for you. But don't even go back to the hood to plant money trees, because it's an allusion to the song Money Trees by Kendrick, right? And it's also criticizing fake activism in that space. Like someone saying that Kendrick doesn't do anything for the community. You could say that if you were saying someone's a hotep and they're fake, they say all these things about Black people, but then you dissect them and say, it's like, you're not actually doing anything to progress Black people forward or your community forward.
Right.
That line is cool if you actually went into it more with the hotep angle. But
he does give money to his community. He does support his community in very specific financial ways, like that Drake, to say nothing of the inspiration and the, I electrify him, you pacify him, but he is very much a part of the Compton philanthropic community. So this makes absolutely no sense that you're charging him with doing something, not doing something that he actually does. And
but this is a battle, and you're talking about real things that happen outside of the battle.
And
I'm saying in the angle.
But this is lame.
It's not. It's only lame if you don't care about anything that Drake has to say. I think it's actually lame because it's reduced. It reduces social commentary to like that, just one punchline without offering any type of insight. That's my actual issue. There's no insight. So you would have to kind of prove that the money tree line, and that's what I'm saying. But the line itself, I think, makes sense because it touches on the hotep angle if you had that type of perspective, but he doesn't. Because say you hate the girls I fuck, but what you really mean, I've been with Black and white and everything that's in between.
So
you know
cringe.
how crazy that line is?
So cringe.
That line is crazy.
Why don't you just rap about your body count?
Just say.
What did you say? I fucked 392 girls. I wrote down all their names in my notebook beside my bed.
Yeah. Black, white, Asian, Middle Eastern, the rainbow, man.
You know what I mean? I fuck intersex girls. I fuck trans girls. I fuck Russian girls. I fuck poor girls. I fuck rich girls. Like, wait, what did you just say?
That's so crazy to say.
But again, missing the point, because Kendrick makes a repeated point in this about family and how responsibility and family are tied together. And what is Drake saying? I am a slut. I am not a family person. I've been with 1,000 people, and you are with one person that whole time since high school, because y'all been together since the late teens. So you've been with one woman since you were a teenager, but I've been with half of the world, so I win?
No,
what?
Well, the actual angle that Drake's taking here, where he falls very short of, and it's actually ridiculous and very misogynistic if you really look at it, and freaking racist. But the actual angle that he's taking is flawed, because what he's saying is that, hey, you saying that I'm not Black. You just said that I'm not Black and I can't say nigga. You just said that you're supposed to be this Black Messiah and you're so pro-Black. Why do you have? I've been with everybody, so I clearly am not racist.
But your girls
I'm not racist. Yeah. And your girls mix, Mr. Black Messiah. It's like, what? None of those things actually are something that Kendrick said. So the angle makes no sense. You just said, yo, I love Black women and white women, and you only love Black people clearly because you said that I'm not Black, when he never said that I'm not Black, which he proves.
Know.
He has no idea what the angle. He doesn't even know what to say in this battle. That's what's clear.
He doesn't know what to say. He doesn't know what to do
at all.
This is so dumb.
I feel like we need to.
I'm biracial, but you have a biracial wife. What are you talking about right now? You're dissing him for having.
Hold on. I think we have to, for people to understand, because this is real, because we're talking to the idiots, right? For people to understand why his angle on this is flawed, and he loses points for angle, which he's lost points for angle in this entire verse and entire song, right? And lyrics, I gave him 2 points for lyrics. He had like a double entendre in the money tree. I gave him 2 points.
The money tree line got the point. Oh my god!
I like the money tree line as a rap line. Damn, and I'm talking about and I'm not talking about liking. I'm saying it's there. I'm talking about hold on. No, but I'm talking about lyrics. When I say like, if I say it can't be rapping about no rat and that we can't read, there's an internal rhyme there. I didn't say that this shit is great and super clever. I'm just saying that it's there. That's all I'm trying to say. Whereas,
how is this nigga talking about why you never hold your son and tell him say cheese? How could you have said that? Knowing what happened to you in the last battle, knowing your relationship with Adonis, this nigga lives with his children, and you don't even live in the same country as your child, and you really wrote with a straight face why you never hold your son and tell him say cheese.
We're gonna fully go on Meet the Grams, Toure, but I want to show you right now why that mixed queen line angle doesn't even work and how Kendrick replies from the other song. So here's how we're gonna do. Right here. So remember, he said that he's been with black women, white women,
and everything in between.
And everything in between, right? Because that's the spectrum of people, black and white, and everyone's in between. But and then he says, you're with this mixed queen, right? This is a direct rebuttal to that line 20 minutes later after that song dropped, by the way. So people need to understand that that's crazy. Please remember, you could be a bitch even if you got bitches. Never code switch, whether right or wrong. You a black man. He's talking to Drake's son and telling him that he's a black man. So that means he understands that these are black people. You are a black man. And he also told you that you could be a bitch even if you got bitches, talking about what Drake just said about having... I
mean, it's a response, but we know... It's a response because you made it a response. But we know this song was written without having heard Family Matters.
2 things. That doesn't matter to my point in the sense of that this statement shows that his angle is bad, no matter when it was written. That statement that he says that your son is black. So he didn't tell you weren't black. He told you, I don't want to hear you saying this word no more. And then you came out saying it. And you felt, so he pressured you into saying the word and coming up with all these crazy rebuttals and saying things about this slaves being freed and all that, but he's addressing your son as a black man. So your angle of thinking that biracial isn't black to Kendrick Lamar, that's not true. People have said that biracial isn't black to Kendrick Lamar. He just said this biracial child is a black man. So that's what I'm saying. As far as him rebuttaling directly to that line with that line, we don't know. But I agree that it's probably written before. But let's get back to
this nigga Drake talking about your baby mama's captions always screaming, "Save me." Now, that to me is actually a clever line and kind of funny. I don't know if there's any reality to it, but I'll give him a point for that. But now he's just wild. You did her dirty.
You like that line?
You trying to make peace. You don't know that. I heard one of them little kids might be Dave Freeze. You don't know that. Don't make it Dave because if your GM is your BM secret, you don't know that. You don't know that. You know none of it. It's the first time I heard this. I was like, how would you know that? You don't know that. You didn't know that. You're just repeating what he did back to you. You have no fucking idea. I threw this out right away. Like, this is fucking stupid.
It's not the you don't know that even seems like it's just dumb. It also just doesn't matter. It's TMZ gossip rap because Drake got hit with TMZ gossip rap. So he feels like that's what is needed in this situation.
Yeah.
Right? He feels like I need actual tea to get him out of here. Right?
Yeah.
But this is not actual tea. It's not an assassination of character. Because if you're trying to kill someone's character, right? And you say this salacious stuff about them, that's not an assassination on his character. Only in a manosphere worldview, that is. You feel what I'm trying to say?
That would be an assassination of Dave's character.
Yeah. What are
Not a
you? That angle's bad. It's a bad angle.
If this was true, Kendrick is the victim in this
Yeah.
situation, not the bad guy.
Like that's so easy to in a rap. It's so easy to flip back to you in a battle. That concept. You're like, oh, this person messed with your girl. I could easily flip that and move on. Like that's not an assassination on the character.
And then, of course, you come back to he's short. These bars go over Kenny head no matter what I say. That's so dumb. I know you like to keep it short, so let me paraphrase. That's so dumb. You want to keep it short, so I'm a paraphrase. What is that? That's not a simile. What is that? All that.
That feels like a pun. That's a pun.
Oh, okay, I'll give you that. And then he's like, knew it was smoke when Abel hit us with the serenade.
I love how it's like most of this us breaking down is you not being able to control yourself.
So wait, let me look what so just structurally, right?
Yeah.
80% of the song is that E sound. Self-esteem, need, cheese, sweet, Dave, free, peace, right? I wonder if they started off with saying, oh wow, we'll say Dave Free's kid. His kid is Dave Free's kid, and then we'll just use E till we get to Dave Free. But then he goes, breathe, knees, free. But then he just changes.
How you said they. I love how you said they, implying it's him and his team of writers.
For sure. No doubt. Picture the 4 or 5 of them sitting in the studio in the embassy on the plush couches trying to figure it out. So now, but then at the very end, they just shift. So, well, not that kind of free. I'm talking about my nigga Dave. Your man, a little K, we call him Mini Drake. Staring straight. What I say, paraphrase, serenade. So you just completely changed the word. I mean, like if you did 90% of the rhyme on one sound, you should finish it on that sound. Or you should have variety, but not like we did 90% and then we just did a different sound.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to go to the sonics of it and of the rapping and the rhyme pattern, it is simple. It's simple, but a lot of times simple will get people into the groove. So I don't on a simple rhyme pattern, I don't usually discredit points because of that part. But the impact wasn't there, so therefore I discredit him because even though you had something simple that someone can easily get and hear all the words.
No, it's valuable. It's valuable to land it on impact because yes, simple can be powerful and simple can be simplistic and non-powerful. And so the problem isn't simplicity in and of itself, it's where you go with it. And this is a pointless, simplistic simplicity, not a simplicity that is like, wow, you have simplified something complex. That's so amazing. But just this whole notion of the sonics of it, that if this 90% is weird to me. Because if you did 90% of the verse with one sound, why not finish it with that sound? Like you're so close. And then it's like, well, see, the point was to keep one sound through the whole verse. No, we just changed it at the end because I don't know. The fuck?
My issue is that there's not really any metaphorical payoff. There's no strong angle. We went through all his angles. The use of his wordplay or devices when it came to his repetition, the anaphora, the illusion with the money trees, the save me line that you like, all of these, like even like parallelism of him using like the portrayal lines, him using slang to try to create his ethos of authority, right? Using all that like gang slang, DP, PC, doesn't work. All of those angles are not valid, and I feel like we disproved them all. Don't we feel like we disproved all the angles?
The other thing too is when you think about Euphoria and Not Like Us and all the lines that jumped out of them that people repeated, there's no line in here that anyone did repeat, And there's no line in here that I'm like, wow, I'm surprised that nobody jumped on that and repeated that. There's nothing in here that would suggest memorability, sticking in the mind, something that jumps off the page or off the phone that's like, oh, that was that shit. I'm taking back.
I think all the plays that Family Matters has.
I'm taking back my vision of Drake in a room with multiple other people. He must have written this by himself, because if he paid for this, the niggas was robbing you. What the fuck?
That's what I think. I think he definitely wrote this by himself, but was obviously checking in with people, being like, this line, right? It's like, yo, yeah, he be rapping like he trying to get the slaves freed. We saw that.
No. I don't believe that no African American told him that was a good line. If he had spoken to a brother, he would have been like, wow, that's a tough one, Drake. I don't know about that one. That's so borderline, Drake. I don't know. I mean, if nobody who fucked with him could not have seen, yo, Kendrick could take that and destroy you with that line.
I don't think he has very many original concepts, personally.
Mm-hmm.
Someone probably heard it and let it slide, like you said, yes man type shit. But I feel like that line is not even his thought process. I don't think that's his thought process. I think he's so out of culture. Like you're saying, I agree with you that he's out of culture. I think he's so out of culture from a celebrity standpoint and a not being within the black culture standpoint. He's so outside of it that he's just he reaches the whole idea of like, oh, this is what they're saying, I'm going to say it.
He's a copier.
Yeah, I don't think they're that in that space. And that's just from me noticing in the writing. This is not even a character criticism. It's like you could see it in the writing. Let's go to the first verse of this. Might have to be a 2 episode. We're already at like 30 minutes talking about this day.
And we have it, and you know, settle in now. We're about to do the Kendrick verse. This might take a minute. Get your snacks, get your tea ready, because we could. I mean, the first line. You know what? First line blew me away. I had to press stop. Dear Adonis, stop. What are you talking about? You're talking directly to his son. You know how disrespectful that is to talk to a person's son right in front of them, about them, past them, over them, around them. I'm not even respecting you. Right? All that African American shit of like, we have to acknowledge each other when we see each other, because you can't be like invisible. You can't pass somebody by on the street, on the quad, and not have you got to just say hi. You might not even like that nigga. Just say hi. We see each other, right? Because we were invisible to them. So we don't have, now you are invisible to me. This is one line, 2 words. So much is already fucking going on. So much has already been said through 2 fucking words. Like, what the fuck?
2 words. What it implies right away, this idea that my 5th grade teacher, because I wrote this letter to my future self, right?
Nice.
And she told us to do it, but it was a poem, right? And I'm gonna land this, telling my future self what to do and how to be morally sound, right, in the future. And then she explained to me, what you wrote is a didactic poem. When didactic poetry is when there's a moral lesson in the narrative of the poem. In one line, you understand where this is going. We all did. Insert all streamers being like, oh my God, what did he say? They stopped the record right here. What line made them stop the track for Drake? Not one. But guess what? Maul says that Drake raps better. Right? Maul says that Drake rap better. Nobody stopped and rewind anything that man. Nothing. Like, maybe some Drake fans stopped. Let's be. Yes, when I say nobody, I'm saying most people, because you guys are all weird. Most people did not care. We listened through that thing once. We got it all. Very easy to get.
I'm sorry that man is your father. Let me be honest. Stop again. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking? This whole song is a nuke. Every fucking line of the first verse is a nuke.
Well,
Like, what do you? Red button. This is the red button. This is the shit you can never come back from. You don't even want to be in a battle with someone who would be like, "I'm sorry that he is your father." Like, what the fuck is happening right now?
yeah, it's
It
like, I'm
takes a
sorry that
man
is your
to
father.
be a man. I know
You're-
what it takes to be a man. I can teach you. Your father doesn't know. But the next bit is really important, right? And you had a lot of thoughts on him choosing to say, your dad is not responsive. Because normally you would say, you would think he's going to say responsible, but responsive does so much more.
Responsive is such an intentional choice, and it could be intentional for 3 different meanings. Responsive is as your dad's not responsive as a father, as in he's not responsive to you. So I'm gonna write. Look at me. I'm writing a letter to you because your dad doesn't even answer your questions. Doesn't
Your
teach
dad
you how to
doesn't
be a
write letters
man.
to
He's
you.
not there. He's not gonna write a letter to you. Your dad's not responsive to, as in when we all found about you, he didn't take charge and be a man to take responsibility for you about that, about being a father, right? We found out from Pusha T. That's how, so he can make a relation to that statement, right? And then also not responsive because he's not as a man who's attacking him, he's not responding to me. He's talking about all these other people and he's not responsive to me. He said that in one line, all those things because he changed one word, whereas someone simple who wants to get one point across would just say your dad's not responsible. So
responsive does so much more. And like he's not concerned with the rhyming here, right? There's not rhyming relationships between these words, but it feels
they're slant rhymes or they're not true rhymes, but he makes them rhyme, yeah.
But it feels like a song, not a poem, but it also feels more evil and ill and direct because it's like I'm talking rather than I didn't stop to put this in song structure, right? And it feels like a song, but it's like I'm just talking and I'm just telling the truth.
I would say it's not an easy bounce, and it's not the E
right.
sound that you were saying because how many syllables are unresponsive? You know what I'm saying? Even though
Right.
he makes it feel like two in how he says it. It's just it's a multi-syllabic word versus someone saying free and squeeze and please.
But then he comes behind with condom, behind him, home, grown, leadership, right? Teach you shit. So it rhymes kind of, but because it doesn't rhyme sharply, like free and be, it gives it this sense of like I'm just talking, which is much
conversational.
More, yes, and the voicing is very conversational. It's just much more ill. This subject done in this way. I don't think Drake thought about varying his tone and his normal way of rapping for Family Matters, whereas Kendrick is clearly using the voice in a ill way that heightens the effect of the record.
What it implies
Yeah.
is intention, because you are intentionally changing your voice and tone to reflect the meaning of the words. Because like we said, simple flows and simple rhyme patterns doesn't mean that it's unintellectual. What it means is you're trying to make people bounce and get it simply. But if you're getting something simply and then you actually get nothing from it, like that verse we just read, and the angles don't work, there was actually no point for you to be that simple. And that song is not catchy, like we said. That's not something that we're singing and going around singing. So what was the point of all that simplicity?
Well, I know. Well, let's talk about that. I know that a lot of people listen to Meet the Grams to this day at the workout in the morning. I heard from all of y'all, right? After my TikTok about who is sitting around listening to Meet the Grams, and all of y'all were like, it's me. Fine.
Okay.
I don't think that Kendrick constructs this song in a way that is intended to have people listening repeatedly, right? And like, I want you to weigh on this because I think clearly Not Like Us is intended to be a pop song. It is intended for multiple listens. It is intended to rock the party. Meet the Grams, I don't think it's intended to be listened to multiple times.
When you say it for that case, because that's the perspective that we're taking. Like, this is supposed to be a pop song, someone that can listen different spaces. Of course not. Like, what are you talking about? I don't listen to Meet the Grams. You don't listen to Meet the Grams, because we are well-adjusted human beings.
Let's not slag all the other people, but it doesn't have.
I know, I'm playing around.
It doesn't have the hooks, like the lyrical hooks, the sonic hooks. It doesn't rhyme in a traditional, normal, easygoing way. It's not meant to be out in the world. It's just, I'm putting this right into your ear, Drake.
Yeah. It's meant for the moment, and it's meant for the impact. It is a story. It is a narrative written as letters to his family members in response to a track that is called Family Matters. It's part of the larger narrative of the battle. And to me, obviously not to me, I think to most people, the killing blow that killed this whole battle. And then that Not Like Us was the parade. So so I joke around when I say why people meet the Grams. It's because it's amazingly written. It's an amazingly written dissection of a human being and an angle to take on somebody. Like, we've never heard a battle track like this before ever in our life. And I think that's why a lot of people don't get it or don't like it, because it's like, it's very unorthodox to write letters to someone's family members to battle them. That's crazy.
It's a lot of wisdom, especially in this beginning part of the verse where he's doing the thing that he says Drake isn't doing. So there's a lot of real advice that Adonis could really take from this. Life is hard. The challenge is always going to beat us home. So you can't just think life's challenges are out there, and they won't exist at home. Like, you got to deal with shit head on and not use machines and easy routes and cheat codes. And like, that's what I'm all about, kid. I'm about working hard day by day on my craft, my body, on my family. Other people, are into quick fix and throwing money at things. Don't do that, right? Sometimes our parents make mistakes that affect us until we grown. My God, this is the line that, let me be your mentor since your daddy don't teach you shit.
Never let a man piss on your legs, son. Calls him son. Either you die right there or pop that man in the head, son.
The son is important. Son is
very important.
Because he's lyrically adopting him there, right?
Yes,
like, you don't have
paternal. He's being reflective, mature, and paternal, whereas Drake was being petty, sarcastic, and accusatory.
And this is a way of spreading the TMZ gossip without being a gossip, right?
Yeah.
He's passing along. Don't let a man piss on your leg. Either murder him or die, right? And
which is hilarious.
Those who know were like, oh yeah, was it Puff who pissed on his leg, or was it T.I.?
I think it was T.I.
I think Puffy was there, but T.I. did it, right? Which would make sense, because T.I. was actually in the streets and Puff was actually not. He was actually running newspaper delivery rings when T.I. was actually getting it. But those who know are reminded of that, and those who don't know are like, what was this? Don't let somebody piss on your leg. And then they're on Google, and then the story blows up again. Right? Yep. That's how you do it. And not maybe your kid is Dave Freeze and there's no stories about it on the internet and there's no receipts and nobody ever says anything, because that never fucking happened.
Yeah, he's actually taking things out in the world and then talking about it versus making things up that people can't even relate to. And that comes to the idea of impact. So when you say the words, are they impacting people because they can actually relate to them and understand the concepts? That's the difference there. Now, what's the next line we're at? That's the one where we said this all right. Please remember, never fall into escort business. That's a bad religion, which can be an allusion to the Frank Ocean song. Please remember, you could be a bitch even if you got bitches. Never code switch whether right or wrong.
That right there, you could be a bitch even if you got bitches, relates to the Sexy Red line. Believe you, when you see you and two women in the mirror, you think they're both bad bitches. You see two bad bitches.
Yeah, that's actually, that's a double, as well as him using the idea of antithesis, of saying sexual power doesn't equal masculinity.
But
That's
even also, this
saying.
speaks back to what you were talking about before about like, well, I fucked black, white, yellow, green, purple bitches. Like, okay, you got bitches. You still a bitch, nigga? Like,
yeah.
I ain't impressed.
Yeah, that's what I said about like sexual power from your definition doesn't equal masculinity, right? That you having that doesn't equal masculinity. Whereas also what it's saying, you could be a bitch, as in like even if you got bitches, you could say that to a bunch of dudes. Like that's not just, you could say you're still a bitch, right? And you won't fight me. You won't come at me direct. Even if you got those bitches over there who you think are going to help you in this fight. Y'all all bitches.
Oh,
so it's also saying that.
You
could be a bitch even if you got bitches. like you saying both of those things at the same time.
You got a crew. It don't matter.
You got a crew of bitches.
Don't matter. Never code switch. It's an interesting line. Never code switch, whether right or wrong. You're a black man. And we already talked about the black man part, which is interesting. I understand it from Kendrick's point of view, and I want to leave it on Kendrick's point of view of like, I don't modulate my blackness based on who I'm talking to. I keep it real wherever I go. And for a Compton MC who probably every room he enters, the room shifts to focus on him, whether it's a studio in Compton or an office at Apple, like wherever he goes, everyone's focused on him. So I understand that. And there's a strength in saying never code switch because that means the room is always focused on you and what you want. That's fantastic. Most of us will have to code switch from time to time to modulate and get what we need in the society and black it up over here and, like lay it down a little bit when you go over here. And that's just normal being a humble person and understanding the room and how to communicate with the people you're with. So in general, yes, we do have to be able to master code switching, but I understand from Kendrick's specific perspective, this seems like some ill shit. And to say to Drake, like, we never know who you're really going to be. And I'm always the same person. That fits with the whole authenticity, integrity angle that he's been rocking with throughout the whole thing.
3,000%. Him saying that it's a social code switch versus the idea, of you truly having integrity, and that you being biracial doesn't mean that you're not black. That's kind of really what it is. Just because you're biracial doesn't mean you're not black, and you don't have to play this concept of both sides. In Drake's case and his son's case, you don't have to play that concept. You're a black man. You can be a black man. It's okay. That's what he's saying. Even if it don't benefit your goals, do some push-ups, get some discipline.
Do some push-ups, nigga.
Get some discipline. It's like you telling me to do push-ups. Hey, Drake, maybe you should do some push-ups. And maybe you should have your son do some push-ups because it'll apply discipline to your life. Don't cut any quarters like your daddy did. Fuck that. Fuck what Ozempic did. Don't pay to play with them Brazilians. Get a gym membership. That's crazy. Because if you rap it the way I almost kind of said that sounds like a Pusha T cadence, but he didn't rap it in that way. That's crazy.
Oh, just,
Look at that. Internal, don't cut them corners like your daddy did. Fuck what Ozempic did. Don't pay to play what Brazilians. Get a gym membership. That's internal.
Brazilians and daddy did.
Yeah. But he didn't rap it in that exact way, but that's crazy.
Understand, no throwing rocks and hiding hands. That's law. I'm teaching you about basic shit, how to be a man. Your father has not taught you these things, but I'm here for you. Call me. You know what I mean? You want to know more? Call me. Don't be ashamed about who you with. That's how he treats your moms.
That implied contrast is very important too. To saying who you are.
Drake said, your partner is mixed. Mm-hmm. Kendrick said, Kendrick said your dad is ashamed of your mom.
Your mother. Yeah. That's what he said.
And
said, "Yo, you
Drake
shouldn't be."
might have been meaning or intending to get there with saying Whitney is mixed when you're a activist and all this shit, but he doesn't quite get there. And it stays in the realm of biology. Kendrick gets it there to feelings, to your dad's ashamed of your mom. That's why we never see her.
What Drake's statement lacks is insight. He says a bunch of words about what he thinks Kendrick said, and Kendrick clears up to say, "Hey, guy, I didn't say that at all. So your whole angle makes no sense. I didn't say that you weren't black. I said that you are ashamed of who you are, and you change up who you are depending on where you are." So that's.
I think he's
Hold
talking
on
right
a second. My TV just went stupid. I'm still connected, but it went. What the fuck? It's detecting a new device.
Okay. Since we're paused, I think this is a great episode. Let's finish this verse and call it there. And then if you want,
with you. I feel like
we can come back to verse 2 or not. I think we've made the point.
Not, yeah, we made
and
the point.
Yeah.
The point has been made. Let me go. I'm gonna cut to I don't know why that TV just started detecting a new device. I've never seen it in my life. Where are we in this verse?
Don't be a kid to have a kid, hide a kid again, be sure. Right? We just did, he's ashamed about moms. Don't be ashamed about who you with. So the next line we haven't done is don't have a kid, to hide again. You ready? Or you still waiting?
And then he says, "Yeah, I'm ready now."
He said, "Don't have a kid, to hide again. Be sure." That's what your dad did to you. He hid you, brought you back out, put you back in again. Be certain. Be clear on what you want to do with your life. Like, what the fuck?
Be disciplined.
Yo, this next line, 5% will comprehend, but 95 is lost. We're talking about the 5%ers here, right? At least that concept of like 5% of the people understand and 95% are deaf, dumb, and blind.
Yeah.
Classic hip hop shit. I mean, like, if hip hop had a religion, it would be the 5% nation, right? Like, we talk about them and we welcome them and their teachings more than we talk about Christianity in this culture, as for coming out of MCs, especially 80s and 90s.
I think that's debatable, but I understand where you're coming from.
So you
I completely
mean
understand
like,
where you're coming from?
Because DMX and KRS talk about Christianity.
There's a lot of Christian tropes within hip hop, but let's not get into that. Well, that's a good video idea.
It's an interesting video. Be proud of who you are. Your strength come from within.
From within. A lot of superstars that's real, but your daddy ain't one of them. Oh, a lot of superstars. I forgot that line. A lot of superstars that's real, but your daddy ain't one of them. Because he's not a superstar within this culture. 5% will comprehend, but 95% is lost. That's saying that the majority's over here, the minority's where it's at. So let's remember that's what he's actually saying there, as well as referencing the nation, right? Be proud of who you are again reaffirming that you are black. You do not have to be stepping on this side and both sides like Drake is doing. You can just be a black man because that's who you are. Your strength comes from within. A lot of superstars, that's real, but your daddy ain't one of them. And we all know that he's not actually, here's the thing. We all know he's not actually talking to Adonis, right? We all know that this audio, here's what I mean by talking to Adonis. The audio is going out in a battle towards Drake. So he knows that Drake is going to hear this letter to Adonis.
Right.
So he's saying things. I'm saying this is intention is very important in this so we can understand where the writing is going. He's saying things to Drake through his son. We can agree about that, right?
I think he's talking to two audiences, Drake and Adonis at the same time. But go on.
Conceptually, but I'm talking about, look at the words. You could have been proud of who you are.
Yeah, nothing
Your
like
strength
him.
comes from within, but you are not a superstar You're
No,
not
no.
a superstar within our place. I'm talking about what he's saying, the context behind of what he's saying.
Oh,
He's
oh, oh.
talking
Yeah. The concept.
directly
Yeah.
to his son, but he's telling Drake that he is not a superstar in our world. You're not part of this minority conceptually, and you're not proud of who you are.
When he says, lot of superstars that's real, but your daddy ain't one of them, I thought the ain't was too real. He's not real. He's a superstar. He's just not real. He's Ozempic. He's BBL. He's fake. He's not.
He's a fake superstar.
No, he's a fake person in that his abs are fake.
That's of course. I'm saying right there plainly, a lot of superstars that's real, but your daddy ain't one of them. Anybody who understands English knows that, saying that he's not a real superstar as in part of the streets, part of the system, or part of our culture, right? He's not a real superstar as in a real guy, right? But I'm saying that he's also saying that he's not part of this culture's superstars, was what I'm trying to say. Like the actual hip hop culture doesn't have him in those ranks. He's not the GOAT. He's not legendary. He's not on Mount Rushmore because he is not real. He's not a real person in any of this culture.
And you nothing like him. You'll carry yourself as king. See, and when we went through Family Matters, I start laughing at the end because the end of the verse sort of fades away. This verse ends with writing purpose. You're nothing like him. You'll carry yourself as king. Don't understand me right now, because when adults talk to children, quite often we understand that the children do not understand what we're saying. But just play this when you're 18. Play this when you're 18? Are you kidding? That's how you end the verse? What? Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Oh my God. This song will live forever because you're going to play this again when you're 18, Adonis.
It's his future voice. It's a rhetorical question before that. Can
you imagine 18-year-old Adonis? Whatever is related. Maybe he's close to Drake. Maybe he understands. Maybe they're separated by that point. I fucking know. But he's 18, 19. He's old enough to start his college. He's starting to really think about things. And he listens to the song again with whatever experiences they have. I don't know if that is really crazy. That is really powerful to think about him listening to this as an adult or a young adult.
Crazy. What's crazy is if we think about now we're looking at both of these because we can just hear because it's been an hour, right? It's when we're looking at both of these verses from the angle, the lyrics, and the impact. Like I said before, Kendrick is reflective, mature, paternal. Drake is petty, sarcastic, and accusatory.
Corny.
The language that Kendrick is using is symbolic. It's layered. It's metaphorical. There's literary devices.
He's using his tone in a very intentional, artistic, dramatic way. Mm-hmm. I don't think Drake thought about what tonal
Drake is the same person.
Drake
is the same person he's always been because he thinks that's what the standard is, and his term is and his language is colloquial because that's what he feels people can respond to, right? Mm-hmm. If you think about it, he's let me put on this face of surface level terminology and supposed intentional gang slang to be yo, I can prove that I have the authority on this when you don't have that in your writing or your history. Diction, there's actual more words that you rhyme with in diction when it comes to and more syllables on Kendrick's hand. It's gossipy on Drake's side.
More bars from Kendrick, actual lines that we were that line is hot as shit.
More lines. Definitely more lines because the thing about Kendrick is he's not a super punchline rapper because the concept and the whole verse will be the punchline. Every line matters to the larger concept, and when you can see that concept, every line starts having more weight to it. So all lines matter. All lines matter.
All lines matter.
But all lives matter. And And there's intention in the lyrics where, yeah, there's that. And then purpose wise and impact, it Kendrick taught people. He was teaching in the verse. He's guiding. He's uplifting even in that verse.
Yeah.
Whereas Drake was exposing, clowning, and deflecting. And deflecting in the argument never works. That's not how debates work. And that all a battle is debate. Read through, Google now, everyone, the archetype of a good debater and what it means to be a debater. Because there's an art to that. There's a craft to being able to debate. And deflecting without any like proof, without any rebuttal, where rebuttal's like, hey, what about this? This is my angle on you. Drake doesn't do that. Plain and simple, one is freaking James Baldwin, and the other one's TMZ.
I think
y'all like TMZ.
I think we have showed without a shadow of a doubt, beyond a shadow of a doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt, that Meet the Grams is the far superior song, the far superior record. It's better written, it's better delivered, it's better conceived, it has more impact. And we just went through one verse. We could do it. We could go again through the second verse. I think the song gets weaker as we go along. Family Matters and Meet the Grams remains powerful and strong and incisive. I don't think this is even close. And the notion that anybody, much as somebody with the very low IQ of somebody like Mal, would listen to these two songs and say, this is clearly better than that, it just shows you either don't listen to hip hop or you don't understand hip hop, or maybe you're just dumb. Maybe it's just that. Maybe, I mean, sometimes I just have to accept that people are just dumb. Some people are just dumb because he's a fucking moron if he thinks that Family Matters is even in the same conversation as Meet the Grams.